one of the key things of leverage is about what's in here. Not up here, but in here. Because once you have that head-heart connection, it's game over, y'all. Because then you know exactly what to say no to. Because too long, I've watched people prostitute themselves just because of opportunity. Opportunities are endless. I didn't believe that at first. And then I got started. And I realized once you turn on that opportunity lever, you will see opportunities everywhere.
Welcome to the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast, the ultimate destination for accredited investors and entrepreneurs seeking alternative wealth-building strategies. Discover how to fast-track your journey to wealth and time freedom by thinking outside the box. If you're ready to join the ranks of the Contrarian Capitalists and learn the most effective ways to reach your financial goals faster, you're in the right place. Let's get started with today's episode of the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast. I am your host and your favorite silverback, Sylvania Harrod. And on today's episode, I want to dig into one of my favorite words you guys will hear me talk about constantly, which is the word called leverage. So when I first got into the world of finance, I kept hearing people use this word like leverage. Now, I know about leverage due to lifting weights, because you realize that most activities in CrossFit are based upon the hip lever. So whether it's pulling a bar off the ground, whether it's doing gymnastics, whether it's getting on the ground and getting back up, jumping over things, most of your power comes from your hips. So if there's any inconsistencies in your hip and your glutes aren't fired properly, you're not going to get the most amount of power transfer to the bar. Now, how does that apply into life? I'll give you a couple scenarios. So I was talking to a person, and as we were going through the conversation, they talked to me about their business. They happen to work in IT. They have certain items that they focus on, and they just got started, which I'm always going to celebrate for you getting started. Just get started. Just start it. They started a business, they go through. Then once you're in motion, now you're at a place where you have to understand what is the most effective use of my time. Because at first, most people, when they start a business, they go through and they're like, I want to serve everybody. Because the total addressable market is $10 billion. And if I can get a sliver of that $10 billion, then I'm really going to be good. So I'm here to tell you that that's actually not effective. It is when you get started. Just get started and figure out things. But over time, you're going to realize that we live in a current day and age that I refer to as the trust economy. Because anybody can market anything to any person in the world. There's a certain element of trust that a person needs to have. Because now we're at a place where we don't know who to trust. Because if we think about it, COVID happened 5 years ago, y'all. We just watched the whole world stop. For us in the States, it was almost a year and a half before there's any level of normalcy. We're talking about full 2.5 years of shutdowns and other things happening, and masks and social distancing and kids not being able to go to school and all these other kind of weird things that happened along the way. And then now we're realizing some of the data that we were giving was inaccurate, which has caused a certain level of distrust in the world because you don't know who to trust now. You got people who became overnight gurus talking about all kinds of crap. And now you find out that they're bankrupt, they're having issues, they never really made any money. All they did was you just talk to enough people and you get a certain results. So in the world of the trust economy, I want to trust somebody who actually knows the stuff I'm talking about, right? So for this person who was running this business, I said, the problem is your business isn't personal enough. I want it to be a reflection of who you are. And so what I did was, as we were having conversations, I realized the person's super introverted, an engineer by trade. So I told them, your best sales process will actually be an indirect channel. And they go, what in the world is that? I said, it's called referral partners. You're a kind of person that loves sharing. They're so benevolent. They're so kind. If you meet them, they're the kind of person that'll take their shirt off their back, which means that they are not the kind of person that really wants to convert cold traffic. They need somebody to warm them up because they're relational, not transactional. In a transactional basis in marketing, it's referred to as cold marketing. You can cold, just think about an ad you click on, you buy. It works very well in e-commerce. Because it's transaction. You're not really loyal to a brand. You're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I got one of these little Game Boy things that I saw that had 1,200 games on it. Because I'm like, yo, I can go play the games I was playing when I was in school suspension in high school. It's transactional. There's 50 of those brands, so I don't really care which brand it is. All I care is that it works. If another one pops up and it was $10 cheaper, I'm going to buy that. But when you're building a service-based business, as I refer to them, then you want to be at a place where you are serving people. You have to be a servant leader at first, which this guy obviously was. So when he went to go and have this business and start going, we changed his sales process. Because I said, like, it's not going to work for you to cold call people. That's not who you are. You want to build a relationship. You want to give something of value to people. So if you're going to market something to them, give them something of high value that you already know they like. And we have to niche you down because we're not going to spray and pray. You're not a spray and pray kind of guy. You like having relationships. So what's an industry that has meaning to you that can actually pay you for your services? We figured out it was healthcare. So what do? We changed his messaging and we started creating an avatar of his ideal customer of what they look like. And as we went through that process, he now began to have conversations with people he genuinely cared about, was interested in what they were doing. All we did was apply who he was to what he was doing. And business doubled. Why do I share all that story with you? Is because the same thing happens to us. Yeah, we got to give you some arbitrary number and be like, I want to make 20 grand a month and have it go through and make a gajillion dollars. But it doesn't matter if it doesn't have meaning. It will also warn you. There's a lot of people on the interwebs that'll tell you about like, buy a boring business, buy these things. You can buy cash flow. You can do that. Absolutely, you can. But for the love of God, do not buy anything you're not interested in because everything, no matter how much you're making, will turn into a chore. So if it's going to be a chore, make sure it's a chore you enjoy doing. For me, a chore I enjoy doing is vacuuming. Man, I love to vacuum. I don't know. There's something about like seeing those lines. It could be the ADHD in me, but like seeing those lines and doing stuff and realizing and hearing the vacuum go kind of stuff. I enjoy that, but I do not enjoy cleaning somebody else's house. So while I may enjoy vacuums, I am not buying a cleaning business because eventually there may be a day where somebody calls out sick, somebody needs their house cleaned, and I got to go do it. But if you ask me about landscaping, hell yeah. Get on a mower, sit there and be able to do it. Man, I didn't realize how fun that was until I had a commercial grade mower. So investing in a landscaping company, I'm game for that. Because guess what I got? I got toys, y'all. I got trimmers, got blowers. I get to go mow lawns, like listen to music, veg out to a podcast in the event one of the people don't show up. Will I get on the mower all day? Hell yeah. So landscaping companies make sense to me because I enjoy being outside. Sometimes, like especially right now, because all the plant seed is going everywhere, I may not enjoy being outside, which is why I'm sounding all stuffy. But here's the thing, like revenue is great. Like profitability is great. But having meaning is greater. That's why we're called human beings. It's who you're being rather than human doings. Because the task doesn't matter. There's a gajillion ways to make money. But what matters more than anything else is identifying who you are and the things you enjoy. Because here's a fact. I start a landscaping company with my wife because she may not enjoy that. But if we opened up a gym where I get to buy all kinds of workout equipment and write it off, and she gets to work out all day and help people work out, it may not make a lot of money, but who cares? Businesses are an expression of who you are. That's what matters. That's what's enjoyable. You get to decide that. And by investing in certain assets, you get to determine exactly what you want to put your name on. Because I was chatting with somebody, and they're like, man, there's so much you can do with gold, and there's trillions of dollars transacted per day. And I'm like, y'all can do all that crap all you want. I ain't doing it. I want nothing because I know what those gold mines are actually like. Ain't y'all seen Blood Diamond? I ain't doing that. Like, you're sourcing mines from Africa? Bro, that's my people. I ain't doing that. I want no parts of that world. Because just because it makes money doesn't mean anything. What matters is who you're being, where you put your efforts into. Because once you have a plan, you can do that. And that's why I call it leverage. Leverage in financial terms is about getting to a point where you can hit a tipping point, and all of a sudden you can accelerate the efforts of what you're doing. One of the key things of leverage is about what's in here. Not up here, but in here. Because once you have the head-heart connection, it's game over, y'all. Because then you know exactly what to say no to. Because too long, I've watched people prostitute themselves just because of opportunity. Opportunities are endless. I didn't believe that at first. And then I got started. And I realized, once you turn on that opportunity lever, you will see opportunities everywhere. It's kind of like I tell you to identify all things green behind me. Going forward, all you're going to do is see things green. And you're going to point out and be like, oh, there's green over there. There's eagles. There's a little dinosaur on his shoulder. I think there's an eagle's helmet behind him in some way. Like, there's a little green thing behind the contrarian capitalist thing. Like, you're going to look at all those things green. And any time that you're sitting there looking at something green, did you notice anything red? Because what you focus on, you'll see. That's all it is. You realize there's still Christmas pictures behind me because I haven't changed them yet. Well, they've been there every episode, guys. Might still be there every episode until I decide to actually change the background. And when I do that, I'm probably just going to redecorate the whole room. That's why I tell you leverage is the most important piece. It is way more fun. It's not even proper English, but I don't care. I'm the host. I can say what I want. It's way more fun when you're doing things you mostly enjoy. I love the sport of business. The first lady, she loves exercise. So guess what she thinks about when we go on vacation? Where can I exercise? Guess what I think about when we go on vacation? Holy smokes. I wonder how many syndications are sitting down here. I wonder who owns this building. I wonder who else owns it. Like, I wonder what percentage they own. I wonder what people's money they use to be able to get this. I wonder if I can have a conversation with them. I wonder if there's any assets that are available for sale here because let me check the growth trends of this area. Same thing. That's who we are. That's what we love. I did that way since I was a little kid. I used to make mixtapes, y'all. Actual tapes, chord songs off CDs and sell them. I've always been entrepreneurial. I was a little kid. Paper routes, all that stuff. That's just who I am. Look at yourself and identify yourself the things you love and enjoy and make your investment decisions from there. Because you can make sound judgments. And you can start applying leverage to it because you can accelerate the speed of something you fundamentally understand. Because you don't have to force yourself to do it. If you don't love real estate, don't go after real estate. If you're high risk, go after crypto. If you like the volatility of it, go after it. Learn it. Love it. Go for it. You got to understand you. If you're super low risk, that's fine. Buy hard assets. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. I'm not a gambler by nature. There's no fun with me going to the casino. The fun about going to a place like Vegas is the shows. I love entertainers. I love the music business. As far as entertainment goes, not the actual business because that thing sucks. But I love the entertainer aspect of just some of the world's best entertainers doing things. I love the experiences. So I'll go there for that. Sure, you don't catch me in a casino. Complete waste of time. I don't enjoy it. Which is also why investment thesis for me is not based upon casino-based activities. It's based on probability. And that's the same thing because I understand, for me, my leverage point is time. Because I look at things and I look at levers and I say it takes the same amount to make 10 million. Actually, it takes less effort to make 10 million than it does to make $10,000. So what's the leverage point I need to pull to ensure I'm able to make that level of income? But that's just because I love playing the game, y'all, and see how I got to grow myself in order to be there. Because sometimes I may get kicked in the teeth and realize I may have stayed back at 2 million, but I still made 2 million versus 10. But I'm keep trying and going through that, y'all. And that's the goal. That's where I'm at. So to understand leverage and how to apply it in your life, you have to first understand the base level of the equation, y'all, which is you. Who are you? What do you care about? What excites you? You know? And if you don't know the answer, ask those around you because they know. Give me an honest assessment of myself. I was listening to a podcast episode about my favorite silverback, and what he asked me was, what is the one thing you know I love doing, and what is the one thing you know I hate doing? And take inventory. Take notes. See what's there. And then send me a message. We'll talk about it. We'll figure out what investment thesis works best for you based upon the thing you love doing and you hate doing. And I'll help you guide you. That's how this whole conversation started in the first place. Somebody sent me a DM and we went through it. So I'm here to serve as always. That's why I work in a service-based business. That's who I am in general. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. So as always, stay hungry, stay humble, and stay grateful, my friends. Cheers.